Yes, James Gunn's Superman trailer is going to be dropping soon, hopefully. He seems to be playing coy about the release of the new trailer, but a lot of people said it's happening, and I can't wait to see it. Now, when James Gunn was announced to be directing and writing Superman, not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried. Only because of his reputation in the comic book movie universe as having comedy and like potty jokes from Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad and in Peacemaker. So obviously a lot of people like myself are probably worried that, Superman's gonna have that same jokey type of tone to it. But there was an interview where he actually explained the type of different tones that the DCU will have.
I know that you have other live action shows coming as well. Is that going to kind of be the level you want to have them on, or are you going to do different stuff there as well?
Everything's going to be totally different. One of the things I love about DC Comics is that they've always been able to tell different stories in different ways. They've told stories that were more family-oriented, stories that were more adult-oriented, dark stories, light stories, and I think for us, we just want to tell a bunch of different stories. A lot of those different stories are going to be in the DCU. So we have, something that's relatively serious like Superman, and then something that's relatively comedic like Peacemaker, all in the same universe, something very adult like Peacemaker, something very family, pretty family friendly like Superman. But it's, I think that to be able to tell different types of stories is kind of what makes things fun. And one of the things that I've gotten a little sick of is all these stories being relatively the same, and I'm trying to step outside of that. We at DC are trying to step outside of that.
And I'm actually glad he said that. Relatively serious tone for Superman. And I like that. I mean, you can kind of tell from the pictures, from the behind the scenes sets, there's some action there. There's Superman getting arrested. That reminds you of like Man of Steel, huh? And I like what he said there, that it doesn't have to be the same tone for everything. Now, I always thought, of course, it's not going to be the same tone. Peacemaker can have that jokey tone, that comedic tone. It did have some serious moments in there, which I liked. But for a Superman movie, it's got to be like switched around. They can have the comedic elements to it, of course, but relatively more serious than a more comedic Peacemaker, which is it's music to my ears. I like what he said there. And we know he could write serious stuff, but directing wise, I would say maybe the most serious comic book movie I've seen directly directed by James Gunn is probably Guardians of the Galaxy 3. When it got to the serious moments, when it got to the sad moments, it was there. He knew how to pull your emotional heartstrings, and that's good. I think those types of things I would love to see in Superman, but I've also would love to see the uplifting moments. Superman needs to be about being uplifted, hopeful, things like that, and I hope to see that in this new Superman movie. So as we get closer, I am very excited to see the Superman trailer, and hope it's not disappointing. And one of the biggest things that I'm really thinking about in terms of Superman is the music. The John Williams score, fantastic. It's nostalgic. I love it. It says everything about Superman. Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel score is emotionally great. The action music is awesome. The First Flight music is incredible. So I'm looking forward to see what James Gunn's Superman, his theme music, can bring, or is it going to borrow elements from before? I think he did say it's going to be an original Superman song. I think I read that somewhere, and I'm looking forward to hearing what that sounds like as well. And finally, family friendly is a must for a Superman movie. Pretty family friendly, meaning it's not all going to be like G-rated, or it's going to be, there's going to be elements where it's going to push the boundaries of PG. I mean, what about you? Do you like hearing that Superman's going to be relatively serious? Or did you want something different? Let me know.